beside the Watchung Mountain stands our school so dear. All our precious years of childhood, we have spent them here. For whatever be our watchword, conquer and prevail. Hail to thee, our alma mater, such plains family all hail. When across the world we wander, this will be our song. Honor, love, and true devotion, all to here belong. For whatever be our watchword, conquer and prevail. Hail to thee, our alma mater, such plains that would all hail.
Okay. I'd like to call to order the June 22nd, 2023 regular public meeting. Mr. Jones, can you please call the roll?
Ms. Bauer,
Here.
Mrs. Boroff,
Here.
Ms. Brody, Mrs. Mitchell, Ms. Sirianni,
Here.
Ms. Williams,
Here.
Ms. Winkler,
Here.
Dr. Kolakowski,
Here.
Mr. Murray.
Here. Quorum is present. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we just left executive session. We had our personnel report, HIB update, suspension and detention report, and our legal status update. Additions to the agenda is I-26 SPFEA sidebar, J-26. I-14 is Teamster sidebar, I-15 is donation, and I-16 is high school exterior stair renovation. We'll now move over to the superintendent's report. Dr. Mast.
Thank you. So good evening, everyone, and welcome to the final Board of Education meeting of the 2022-2023 school year. Today, I took a moment just to reflect on all of the accomplishments the district had this year, keeping our strategic plan and student voice at the heart of everything we do. We've made great strides in increasing culturally relevant instruction and curriculum, including bringing the AP African American History course to our high school. We incorporated more social emotional program offerings at each school level, including the development of the new health curriculum in partnership with the community. The district chose a new logo, started a monthly district newsletter, and our students continue to sing or play the alma mater at almost every school gathering. Our facilities and infrastructure continue to improve through security projects planned for a new life skills room at the high school and a commitment to a new five-year facility plan. While some of our high school athletic teams had incredible winning seasons, those that did not still played just as hard and made amazing strides. And last night, we ushered 357 new SPFHS graduates across the stage, along with Spiffy, our district therapy dog, and applauded each of them as they stepped into the exciting next chapters of their lives. All of this and so much more has made this school year exciting and memorable. I'd like to thank the Board of Education for their tireless support and passion for this district, as well as the other members of our administrative team who are seated here at the table tonight, and also for those who are not at the table tonight, all of our administrators, all of our teachers, and all of our staff. I am so grateful for everyone's hard work, innovative thinking, and commitment to the families and staff of SPF. I'm looking forward to everything the 2023-2024 school year will bring us.
Thank you, Dr. Mast.
You're welcome.
Business Administrator report, Mr. Jones.
I'm going to cede my time to my agenda items since I have a lot of them.
I took your time.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Student Board Rep report, Sarah.
Not
Well, I think if there's anything else to report other than graduation from yesterday and then looking for incoming juniors for their email about student rep.
Thank you. Board President's announcement. New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public school bodies of which any business affecting their interests is discussed and acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Scotch Plains Family Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting and published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted at the Board of Education offices located at 512 Cedar Street, Scotch Plains, New Jersey. Such notice is also provided in written notice forwarded to the Union County Hawk Star Ledger, Township Clerk of Scotch Plains, and a Borough Clerk of Fanwood in the revised annual notice of regularly scheduled meetings as adopted April 28th, 2022. We have no instructional updates or recognition this evening, so we'll move over to the first public comment. In accordance with Scotch Plains Family Public School Bylaw 01640165, the meeting will be open for 15 minutes for public comment, maximum 3 minutes per speaker. Speakers addressing superintendent items, business functions, or other board business will be heard first. If time remains, speakers may address other matters. Speakers, please state your full name and the town in which you reside. Do we have anybody who would like to come up for a public comment? No one. Seeing no one, I'm going to close public comment, first one, and we'll move on to additional reports. So letters to the board. We received 2 letters from the public that were sent to the appropriate administrator. 3. Sorry, 3.
There's 2 on the agenda.
It was 3 in the.
There was 2 and a letter to a board member that will address.
3 on the agenda.
There's 3.
Oh,
Mine
okay.
says 2. Mine says 2 also.
No, in the actual letters though, under the letters, attached letters, there was 3, right?
Yeah, there are.
Yeah.
It says 2, there are 3.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Committee reports. I know we have a couple of committee reports this evening. Does anybody want to?
I can go. We had our the Student Activities and Athletics Committee report. We met on June 12th with both, with several people, but we heard from Dr. Heisey, Dr. Holloway, and Dr. Dumarisk regarding some of the activities for sort of a summary of the year-end wrap-up. It was really just wonderful to hear from both principals and Dr. Heisey, but both middle school principals just about the activities that they've had over the last year. Obviously, I'm not going to break down the very big document that we've received, but I'm going to share some of highlights that I think were really great accomplishments and very exciting. Some of the most popular clubs that we talked about that are shared by both schools are the Homework Club, the Newspapers Club, Yearbook, Jazz Band, Student Council. New at Nettingham this year, Terrell already has one, is the Art Club, which already had 40 to 60 participants. There's a Safe Space Club that launched at Nettingham last year and then launched at Terrell this year and is going to work cohesively together. And Nettingham also introduced a Math Enrichment Club this year. There is, and I just was very excited to know about this because we often hear about a lot of the community service work that we all see in our schools and the amazing work that we do at the high school. But there's a Heroes and Agents for Change, which is a leadership community service style group that is at Terrell. And otherwise, listen, I could go on about the amazing allocations that we've received and awards for acknowledgments for our arts departments, for our talent, for the plays that we did, and of course our sports as well. It was just a very wonderful conversation, a great feedback on all of the programs that we have, and I'm really excited to get more involved and go see some more in action firsthand myself next year.
Thank you, Ms. Boroff. Any questions for Ms. Boroff on that? Okay, anyone else?
I have a finance and facilities report.
Sure.
So we met on June 13th, and we also had our new architects with us, and I just want to comment as an aside that I was really impressed that they had lots of ideas and suggestions for saving money. So it's nice to know that our new architects are, providing different kinds of options we might not have thought of. So we discussed a number of topics, expansion plans. Everyone has a full report, but possible expansion plans due to enrollment, high school fencing, and we also discussed a concrete work that needs to be done. We talked about the fire alarm system at Nettingham that needs to be replaced. Looking to do some things, consider some things during the coming year, like a girls' team room. We talked about getting a free analysis for energy efficiency. And on the agenda tonight is money, to approve money for the high school skills room. And we talked about food service and, the prices for meals for next year and all related items with that, including collecting funds that are unpaid. And we talked about combining on the agenda our professional services, and we talked about subscription busing. So we had a very, very busy meeting. So if there are any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Bauer.
I have sort of a question/comment. Since I'm not on finance or facilities, just thinking maybe at some point the committee can share some of the suggestions that the architects came up with. I'm just curious, since it's a new firm and we're all excited about having them on board, some of their suggestions about the money savings or what else might be done. I know with space being at a premium in the next few years, we'll be thinking about creative ways for development. So just wondering whether there were any ideas discussed about outdoor spaces or, maybe that's on the horizon in the future. Just a thought for the committee.
We didn't get that far as far as outdoor spaces, but what I'll say as far as saving money is they had creative ideas about financing and possibly related to referendums and so forth, all things that we need to explore. So there were just, it was kind of brainstorming.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot specific to share, but it was great that they're really, will help us think outside the box.
Christopher would know more about this, but I do think that there's, funding for using green space and, various, grants related to that. There was something at New Jersey school boards about that, so something for us to consider moving forward.
Yeah. Grant, just in general for grants, there is, for example, there's electronic EV buses grants that's pretty big right now. And it's a lot of money, but they've targeted, 54 specific school districts with a certain profile to get those types of grants. But I think just two big things on the savings that just to highlight, they had other ideas as well, but the first one is purchasing a building and renovating it versus new build. And renovating, if we did a referendum and we renovated it and did a bond, we potentially, on the cost to renovate it, we could potentially get up to 35% in state funding for that cost. So that would be a way to save money. And the second one is for your typical capital reserve projects, a way to get state funding for them would be to do like a yearly referendum. So put it to a public vote every year to say, pay for a new roof replacement. And what we would do is take out a 1-year bond, and then pay it off in a year, but we could fund it actually with our capital reserve. So we wouldn't need to raise taxes. It would just say, okay, allow us to go out and get a bond. Therefore, we're getting the 35% state benefit on that. But that would be, you would have to do a public vote. So it's different types of ideas like that to sort of maximize your dollars. But to do that, there is, it's sort of, you do have to prepare the public for something like that so they understand it. So, but there's just a few ideas that they're looking at. And they're the ones who aggressively brought up she mentioned the energy savings improvement program that they wanted, we've only, think about these things we're putting on here tonight, we've actually only been with them for 3 months. So the amount of things that they've done in the 3 months is very impressive, and really pushing the energy savings plan as a first step towards air conditioning for the district and solar panels and things like that. So
Yeah.
they've been great.
I know we're excited to have them. So, thank you.
That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Bauer. Anyone else? Okay. Next was enrollment report. We received the updated enrollment report. And we'll move on to the 22-23 superintendent/curriculum items. I believe there's 8 items in this section for Dr. Mast.
Okay, so item number 1 is the out-of-district placement. 2 is the HIB reports from June 22nd. 3 is the biannual gift reporting. 4 is the SSDS and HIB reporting that we heard at our last meeting on June 22nd. 5 is the superintendent authorization, where I'm able to move forward personnel actions in the summer. 6 is the matrix of forms that we approve every year and update our forms to reflect changes. 7 is the student summer assignments that Dr. McGarry went over in curriculum. 8 is approving the administrator for the creative summer workshop, as Wayne Millette will be overseeing that. And that looks like
That's it for that section.
that's it.
Do we have a motion to approve those 8 items in that section?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to the next section, 23-24.
Here we go.
3 items in that section.
Okay. So item 1 is the out-of-district placements. Item 2 is the textbook adoption that will need a roll call. Item number 3 is our evaluation tool that we use for our teachers and administrators, the Marshall rubric and the Danielson rubric.
Do we have a motion to approve those 3 items?
So moved.
Ms. Boroff, do we have a second?
Second.
Ms. Winkler, any comments or questions? Mr. Jones will do a roll call for all 3, I guess, since
Yeah.
this book adoption requires it.
Yep. Ms. Bauer,
Yes.
Mrs. Boroff,
Yes.
Ms. Siriani,
Yes.
Ms. Williams,
Yes.
Ms. Winkler,
Yes.
Dr. Kolakowski,
Yes.
Mr. Murray.
Yes. Motion carries. Personnel report?
The personnel report, I would ask the board to approve the personnel items that we discussed in exec this evening.
So moved.
Ms. Winkler, do we have a second? Second, Ms. Williams. Any comments or questions on the personnel report? Mr. Jones, can you please call the roll?
Ms. Bauer,
Yes.
Mrs. Boroff,
Yes.
Ms. Siriani,
Yes.
Ms. Williams,
Yes.
Ms. Winkler,
Yes.
Dr. Kolakowski,
Yes.
Mr. Murray.
Yes. Motion carries. Second item, Dr. Mast, we already approved last meeting, so we'll move on to
Good.
Mr. Jones. Business items for 22-23. I believe there's 16 of them.
There we go.
So number 1 is the related services special education. Number 2 is the library books. Number 3 is our yearly resolution for capital reserve surplus that we find out after the audit. 4 is our results of our bid for older iPads. Number 5, fire drills. 6, financial reports. 7, disbursement listings. 8 are paying our bills. Number 9 is the concrete repairs. So just a little bit, these will be district-wide concrete and asphalt repairs. And some of these also include stairway replacements. And so it's fairly significant across all schools. And Number 10 is the high school bleacher repair. So just on the, what we found in a lot of the sporting events that we have is that students like to go under the bleachers. They like to climb the back. I don't know if you can imagine the back of the bleachers. We've seen students go up the little hill, climb the fence that goes halfway up the bleachers, and then sit on top of that and watch the game. So we're going to sort of enclose, and there's some repairs as well, enclose the bleachers for security purposes. And I'll have it this summer. 14 is the Nottingham fire alarm. So I just want to just generally talk about that sec. So our new buildings and ground director started this year, and part of the things that we started working on this year when he started was streamlining some of our vendors and bringing in vendors that I've worked with or he has worked with in the past, and part of that was open systems integrators, and they are also recommended by our new architects as well, and did a lot of repairs this year in a full review of all of our systems, and part of that was that they recommended replacing the entire fire alarm at Nottingham for this year. So that is these next two resolutions, number 11 and number 12, and it'll be a long process to repair those. Number 13, that's high school life skills. That is to help IEP students work with a life skills room, which we had one before, but it was very simple, and we would have these students go all around the high school to different facilities to try to learn these skills. This brings it to one room and puts it together. This is a high level estimate of costs because we are using a state contract vendor we worked with before. And so this was the amount that's on here is our budget, but we're going to look to reduce that as we can, as we coordinate with the general contractor to work in our staff as well. So I put this as a high mark for the building. 14 is a sidebar, and the reason for this is our employees that are in the Teamsters, any holiday that they work, they get double pay. There was a wording in the contract that wasn't being used because our new buildings and ground director, as a practice, started kicking off building checks. So that when schools are closed, we want somebody to come here and just check to see if any pipes are broken or anything's going on, go down and check. And so we found there was a quirky language in there that they actually didn't get paid double time on holidays for those building checks. So somebody could be scheduled to work that day doing very similar stuff and they get paid differently. So this just corrects that language. And we've caught two issues this year for those building checks that could have been even bigger and cost a lot more money. So it's definitely worth it. 15 is anonymous donation, and 16 is a proposal only for additional concrete work behind the high school. This is so at the high school, South Belfield side, about halfway up the building. There's stairs back there and underneath those stairs there was a transformer. So years ago, I'm not sure when, they moved the transformer from under those stairs to on top of stairs. So the transformer sort of in by the parking lot there. But really those stairs are in need of lots of repair. And not only that, is where the transformers were needs to be repaired. There's electrical boxes back in there. The door is a door that weighs, 2,000-3,000 pounds that needs to be removed and redone. So we're not actually sure exactly how much this project will cost by the time it's done, because we need to get a significant amount of engineering work in there to look at because it goes fairly deep and we need an exit there. So there's going to be a lot of work there, but yes, proposal is for them to start to work to get engineers in there and put together a proposal in order to renovate it.
So this is just professional services. This is not to do the work.
This is right. This is just the professional services for them to go in there, because it'll be a fairly significant amount of work to figure out what needs to be done in this for the work. So.
Anybody have questions? We have a motion to approve these 16 items in this first section.
So moved.
We have a second. Second. No additional comments. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Jones, on to 2324. I believe there's 26 items in this section.
Okay. Okay. All right. Number one, staff training. Number two, again, related service to special ed students. Number three was previously approved. 4 and 5 are bids. We're going out for our refuse and recycling, and that's from 3 years ago. So I fully expect those costs to come in 50% higher, most likely. Number 6, school lunch prices. So we've continued to see increased prices in food and labor related to, and so we're going to raise our prices around our a la carte prices will most likely go up around 10%. And we're keeping our sort of the classic base meal flat in the elementary and middle schools, and raising to $4.25 in the high school. We're, in terms of profitability at the cafeteria, we're slightly profitable, about 1% margin. But it's not enough to, with that margin, we have to improve the cafeterias, buy new stoves and whatnot, refrigerators. And so we still have not increased prices near the level of inflation. So this is, we'll keep the baseline costs for a standard meal fairly the similar, but we are increasing the a la carte items. Number 7 is our professional services for the year. Number 8 is our district insurance. This one I want to just highlight, and he's later down in a couple of numbers here, but Dan Regan, our insurance broker, he did a lot of work, and we are switching our workman's comp provider this year because those costs have been up around 30 to 40% over the past couple of years, and so this keeps it flat. So it's fairly significant savings versus our budget for here. So I'm pretty happy about that, because you'll see across the board most of our costs for insurance are way up, but the workman's comp is sort of saving us. The other thing that's on there as flat is our cyber insurance, and it says flat, but I just want to make sure everybody's aware. We have, at the budget, we significantly increased our spending for cyber-related items. We have a single sign-on throughout the district now, so you need to go to your phone authenticator app. We've updated our backups and additional. We've put in some additional in our network infrastructure, increased the backup that we have. So it is flat, but we have invested in that area in order to maintain our coverage. Number 9 is just our annual facilities applications. 10 is our technology and telecom software updates, our yearly renewals. 11 is the energy savings that I spoke to previously. This is a free audit that the state does, the state funds. 13 is just our contracts for our VOTEC students. 13 is our additional services that we get through professional services and non-public services that we can run through Union County ESC. 14 is our broker for insurance that I just mentioned. 15 is our broker for our health insurance. Again, I can't praise him enough. He's really helped us get keep our costs down for our health insurance this year. 16 is the athletic official fees that are set at the county level. 17 is our federal grants yearly. 18 yearly, saying this is the bank we use. 19 is our school supplies mostly. So this is for the teachers' school supplies. We put all of their supplies through a bidding process, and this is the results of those to keep costs down. This is the results of those bids. Number 20 is our subscription busing. So we have a small subscription busing program, but I think I've mentioned multiple times about the increase of our cost of our busing has doubled over the past few years. And so this reflects that increase. So we're increasing from $650 to $950, which is still only 50% of the cost of a bus, of busing a student. So 50% discount, and these are for seats that we have open. 21, these are, just saying Home Depot, where we buy a lot of our, which is a state contract that the state runs a bid for lowest cost, and Home Depot is a preferred vendor by the state. And so every time these next few are just for purchases that are over $44,000 that we need to get approved by the board. Again, same thing with ATRA as our janitorial system, open systems integrators. I listed the items there. They do our fire alarm, fire burglar alarm, intercom, phone repair, those types of things. 24, FW Web is, they do specialized HVAC and specialized plumbing that we don't get from Home Depot. It's basically the brands that we like to use. Again, through state contracts, already been bid as lowest price. 25 are Apple computer purchases, and 26 is a sidebar with the SPF Association. That's it.
We have a motion to approve these 20, I believe it's 25. I think one of the items was approved last meeting.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have any comments or questions for Mr. Jones?
I have some questions.
Sure.
Did you just say that you expect the proposals for the refuse and recycling to be 50% higher?
Yes.
Why is that?
Meeting with the municipality gave us a heads up. They redid theirs, and they're up like 60% in their recycling costs. And they had actually problems where some of the recycling wasn't even picked up because they were debating that. So I met with the CFO last week, and also talked to other business administrators I've talked with, and yeah, the costs are up significantly. And I know it's happening. Multiple towns have pulled back on recycling because of the cost has gone up significantly. So, yep.
Do we have multiple bidders usually?
Last time we had 2 bidders. The last time this was done 3 years ago. So we'll see. Hopefully, we use Grand Sanitation, which is a fairly well-known group. So.
Are they the ones who thinked out in Scotch Plains?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
And didn't pick up the recycling?
No. I don't know.
No,
I don't
that's who
think so.
took
No, I
over
don't
the
think so.
contract.
Oh, that's
The
who took over?
The issue, I mean, our own personal garbage is because of the disposal costs have gone up at all the
Right.
places. So that
No,
they're
I was
pa-
talking about the
No, the fees,
recycling.
why the fees are so expensive? Because they're passing along the fees that they're getting charged to dump everything.
Yeah.
So the dumps have kind of gotten
50%
astronomical.
is just a lot.
That's actually less than some of the companies are actually charging for residential disposal, in some cases.
I also had a question about the district insurance. When you look at that chart, did you just say flat? Because it looks like it's 10%. And I was just wondering why some of the things are like 25%. I mean, there are a few that are 0, but, and it looked like some of them had gone up 25 and 30% last year.
Yeah, so the way that form works is something new for the board, so if there's any questions, let me know. I'll take you through it. Typically, in the past, we just sort of listed the amount, and that was it. I think this gives a little more transparency, but of course, it brings more questions. On that, the first column you looked at, the 9%, that was what we budgeted, and that was sort of what we were expecting. And then that second column to the right is where it actually came in, so it came in at about
Right.
3%. So, but some of the middle, that there's large increases.
Yeah.
The activity in those areas is generally just up, and that's why we had to switch to workman's comp, because the activity was just, the claims were significant. And so if you look at through each one of those, you can sort of see that, like general liability is up. What was the other one? The only good news there is our claims are down for our student insurance. So therefore, you didn't see much, but it's all claim driven. The whole thing's claim driven. Hopefully, that we're using NJSIG now for our workman's comp. It's a bigger group, so hopefully we're getting the benefit of the lower costs with that.
Well, I appreciate the transparency.
Yep.
Any other questions for Mr. Jones? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to procedural. I believe there's 9 items in this section for Mr. Jones.
Yep. Let's go through. Okay. First one is just to pay the bills between the board meetings. Number 2 says we use Robert's rules. 3 is our new uniform chart of accounts, but we use that. 4 is the just how we maintain our records. 5 says I can transfer the budget over the summer till we meet again in August. 6 is our petty cash fund. 7 is our 403B vendors. 8 is our 457 vendors. And 8 is just saying we readopting our policy manual.
Do we have a motion to approve the procedural items?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions on the procedural items? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Board policies we approved last meeting. I don't know if there's any additional board policies we need to address. Excellent. New board business. Any new board business? Any liaison reports?
There's just a lot going on in Trenton, so if you want to look at various bills, they're trying to sneak in a lot of things right now.
Thank you, Nancy. Workshops. Any requests to attend workshops? None. No additional resolutions. Approval of the minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the May 9th open agenda and May 18th regular public meeting minutes? Anyone?
Yeah, so moved.
Ms. Winkler, anybody want a second?
Second.
Ms. Siriani, thank you. Any comments or questions on the minutes from our May meetings? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Minutes are approved. We're going to move to our second and final public comment. In accordance with Scotch Plains Fayette Public School Bylaw 0164 and 0165, the meeting will be open for 15 minutes for public comments. Maximum 3 minutes per speaker. Speakers addressing superintendent items, business functions, and other board business shall be heard first. If time remains, speakers may address other matters. Speakers, please state your full name and the town in which you reside. Please note, boards use public comment period as an opportunity to listen to citizen concerns, but not to debate issues or enter into question and answer session or cross-examination between the public and the individual members. Be aware that not all issues brought before the board will be resolved that evening. Boards may respond to public comment by seeking additional information or by delegating authority to investigate the issues to the superintendent or his or her designate. I will now open the second and final public comment section for 15 minutes. Speakers, please state your full name and the town in which you reside.
Jerry Morris, Fanwood. When it comes to advertising, if your target audience is children, here are some important guidelines to maintain consumer trust. Don't trick kids because kids can be easy to trick. Don't target adult products to kids. Protect children from danger. Keep these guidelines in mind as I discuss a book in the Coles Elementary School Library. The book is called Be Amazing, A History of Pride by Desmond. This book contains quite a bit of info about RuPaul's Drag Race. It almost seems like an advertisement for an adult show. Desmond began watching the show as a 2-year-old with his mother. Desmond then becomes a self-described viral sensation by dancing in drag as an 8-year-old at a pride parade. RuPaul's Drag Race is a show that is filled with sexual innuendo, adult scenes, and vulgar language, and is intended for older teens and adults. Some of the episodes of this show are rated TV and A. Would it be okay for a children's show to have a commercial for RuPaul's Drag Race? Of course it would not be. So why do we have a children's book promoting an obviously adult show? Also, does it make sense to have a book for 5-year-olds potentially encouraging preteen makeup use when most experts agree young children, boys or girls, should not wear makeup? The skin of children up to 12 years of age is easily susceptible to injury and toxicity through absorption of chemicals in personal care products. Shouldn't we try to protect our kids from danger? While being a drag queen may be okay for adults, it is not a profession that should be encouraged for young children to participate in. Desmond has danced in adult-only clubs and bars as adults cheer and toss money. Desmond has also appeared on a podcast video hosted by a convicted murderer. The host was released from prison after serving 17 years for his crime. Desmond is also on video simulating the use of the drug ketamine when he mimics a scene from the R-rated movie called Party Monster. All of these activities Desmond has participated in were done under the watchful eye of at least one parent. This is not something we should condone or encourage by having small children read books about this person or his parents. This book also contains info about Sylvia Rivera. Sylvia ran away from home at the age of 11 and eventually became a teen sex worker to survive. Is it really a good idea, again, to have young children reading books that lionize somebody that ran away from home as a preteen? Let's do what we can to protect our children from dangers, and let's not promote adult activities to children. This book does not belong in an elementary school library. If a parent still wants this book for their child, they can simply get it for free on YouTube.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. Anyone else have any other further public comment? Seeing no one, I will close the second session. Public comment. Upcoming meetings, we have a break in July, and our next meeting will be August 24th at 8 p.m. here in this room. For the good of the order.
Well, that's a good sign.
We've kind of dubbed this the Whirlwind Week because we've all been so busy going to the Nettingham moving up ceremony, the Terrell Middle School moving up ceremony, and last night's wonderful graduation ceremony, among other fourth grade celebrations and such. So, you know, it's nice to be together at these ceremonies and to share in the joy of our students completing their achievements and moving on to the next phase of their education. So, and Dr. Mast and, you know, all the other administrators that were there and all the principals, it was just such a wonderful celebrations all week long. So, and enjoy the summer.
Thank you, Dr. Kay.
I have a few things.
Sure.
The first thing is, and I should have read this as a workshop report, really. I attended earlier this week, the School Boards Association had an Empowering School Leaders with a Revolutionary Online Platform about their new online platform, NJSBA Connection. NJSBA Connection is sort of like, I don't want to really call it Facebook or LinkedIn. It's closer to LinkedIn than Facebook, but it's even different than that. But it's like almost like Slack in some ways, if any of you have used Slack. But it's free to all districts as part of our membership in the School Boards Association. All board members will have an account that they can access directly using the same password that they use to access the aspects of the school board's website. And you can access it through their website directly. But they just created it. And so like when I got the email and I logged in and I looked at it and there wasn't much to see there, but they're introducing it and building it out as they go. So all of us have an account there. And I encourage all of you to go and log into your account and check it out and see what it is. They created, at the moment, there are only two groups. One is what they're calling PAA, which is Personnel Administrators Association, which is a group that had a listserv, which is kind of like an email chain kind of thing going on for a long time now. And so they've sort of migrated that into the NJSBA Connection platform. And, but they have a second group they created now that's active board members and charter trustees, which is all Board of Ed members and charter trustees. Everyone is in there, but they will be creating groups for each county, and for specific topics, like if you are looking for information about finance discussions or discussions about legislation that's going on, or labor relations or whatever, you'll be able to post comments and get responses and see what other people are posting and responding to these things. And you can message people directly through the system, and you can connect with people, like sort of friend them like to use a Facebook term, you know. But anyway, it sounded like it's a pretty interesting platform, and I encourage you. They're going to have several more of these sessions introducing it if people have time to go on and look at it. Yeah. The other thing I wanted to say, totally separate, more good of the order type item, is that I had the pleasure of going to the senior project gallery walk the other day, and I got to talk with a number of our seniors about their projects that they were working on, and it's impressive. It's always wonderful to see what are the things that interest them. You know, I'm so curious about it, but to hear them talk about it passionately, the things that they're interested in and that they're working on, and how this work that they've done is leading into what they're planning to do when they leave here after graduation, and it's really inspiring. I spoke with a student who did the Tomorrow's Teachers program, who was just so pleased with how the experience had gone for him, and told me that one of the best experiences he had was where he worked with a student who was not doing particularly well in the class, and afterwards got to see the student's grades improve, and it just inspired him so much, which is, you know, exactly what we want from our teachers. So that was wonderful to hear. I spoke with a student who worked in a funeral home, which I thought was really interesting, and she kind of laughed, and you know, some of her peers, I guess, indicated they thought it was kind of creepy and weird, but she was looking to study psychology, and you know, what a wonderful way to view grief right up front, and learn different ways to address that with the people at the funeral home who address it on a regular basis. And I spoke with a student who had created an artwork that was incredibly beautiful, with all sorts of symbolism throughout. And it, just to talk to the student, it seemed that they had, it was really cathartic for them to create this artwork as well. So that was really impressive. Spoke to so many students. I don't know, I could go on all night.
How many projects were there?
I didn't see them all, that's for sure.
Approximately 180.
That's great. I remember when there were like 12.
It was the biggest group this year.
It was really incredible. And these kids were really motivated, and it was really inspiring.
So that's, how many did we have in our graduating class?
357.
Huh?
357.
357.
357.
So that was half did senior projects,
Roughly, yes.
And for
approximately.
the benefit of the audience, what's the purpose of a senior project? Like, not everyone does a senior project,
No,
but what's that?
it's almost like an internship.
Okay.
They get the opportunity to take the last month of school, instead of attending their regular classes, they work on a project that
That has to be approved.
it has to be approved. They have to have maintained a certain grade level in order to do it, and they're still responsible for final exams and things like that. But yeah, it gives them an opportunity to have like an internship sort of experience, or a co-op, or sometimes it's more of an independent study. I got to talk to Jada about her project. It was really, it's wonderful to hear them talk about the work that they put into it.
Great. Ms. Williams?
It never, as we're walking up the field for graduation, it always gives me a lump in my throat when I turn around and see that sea of blue behind us and hearing Pomp and Circumstance. I don't know who's crying more, me or Karen.
Karen.
Karen. Definitely Karen. But,
She didn't even make it through the Pledge of Allegiance, like nothing. She was,
no, it's beautiful. I want to congratulate all the graduates, all the parents. Thank you for the district, for all the hard work that you help us to get there, and wish everyone a safe and happy summer. But yeah, it was beautiful yesterday.
anyone?
Yeah. I just want to thank our student board members. I think we might have at the last meeting, because it was Shada's last meeting, but it has just really increased the experience, I think, of all of the board members, to have both of you at the table reading your report, but also just your involvement and just having student voice at the table has been really significant. So, and you're just two wonderful human beings too. So it's been really a pleasure to work with you. So thank you. Have a great summer, Syra.
Thanks.
And next year you get to bring somebody under your wing and teach them the ways.
Exciting.
Well, that was literally what I was going to say. So.
So ditto.
But I will replace it with one thing that I thought of that we really don't express enough, aside from, I don't think that any of us are really capable of summing up the end of the school year and just seeing the kids and learning about all the accomplishments and how rewarding that it is personally for me to see just the talent in this district. But one thing that I know that I haven't done that I want to do is to thank our administration, because so much at the end of the year especially, but it's done behind the scenes in support of us, in support of Dr. Mast, in support of parents, and there's just a lot out there. So I don't want it to go unsaid to thank our administration. And without that, I say have a great summer, everyone. That's it.
Everybody's already said everything I was going to say. But I will wish everyone a wonderful and safe summer, and thank you and kudos to everyone for all the hard work. I had that down here at all the end of the year events. I had down to congratulate Jada again, and I'm already looking forward to the fall because it's so empty here and barren. So I think it reminds us to recuperate and get ready for an exciting new school year.
Anyone else? No? I mean, just thank you to everybody.
Actually, I guess it would be
Across the
appropriate
board.
to thank Evan, your first year as president. Thank you.
6 months. It's only been 6
Well,
months. It
well,
feels
well.
like a lot longer.
Well, it's a nice-
Started off with a little turbulence, I might say, but thank you.
And it was a nice speech.
Yes, it was.
Thank you. Thank you for everybody's contributions, all your support, and for everything you guys do. It's been a very quick year, long but quick. And September will be here before you know it. August 24th will be here before you know it.
Don't rush it.
I'm not trying to rush it, but you know how things work. Things tend to go very quickly, so. And yes, very special thank you to our media specialists who make this all possible, so thank you. You're solo tonight, so. Anyone else? We have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Any comment on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Have a great summer. Thank you very much.
Oh, my.